Good evening, viewers. Welcome to this session. It's a very interesting expose on what we call the modern Maharajas. So I hope you will enjoy this session as much as you do all the others. So welcome to each one of you. Welcome, Meena, and welcome to all the others who have joined us. Now, in a country where millions of graduates are scrambling for entry-level jobs, in a country that has long forgotten the Maharajas of yesteryear, we now watch as a new crop of Maharajas in their 20s and 30s emerge from vehicles straight out of a James Bond movie. Maharajas, created just like Frankenstein was made in a lab, how they will affect the social fabric of India is playing out in full view. The IPL, which was the brainchild of Lalit Modi, who later took refuge in UK, the Indian Premier League, is owned and operated by the Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, but the faces in front are Jai Shah, the chairman, and Rajiv Shukla, the vice president. Usually you see them in front of, when the cricket matches happen with their children and their wives and, a lot of actresses who they are friendly with and also top corporate heads. So it's a lot of a display of wealth, and also the fact that, see, this money, they are not talking about small money, they are talking about big money. So let's start with the first person. Okay, now see, at least Maharajas of yesteryear were they came via a lineage, while these Maharajas are born out of an industry that is minting money, which many allege is through betting and a breeding ground for money laundering. For middle class people, the kind of display, the kind of blatant display of wealth can be demoralizing when they themselves are busy working for their next meal. Yes, it's an irony where people are struggling to make ends meet with skyrocketing prices for commodities. We see these youngsters popping champagne, kissing glamorous women, and becoming millionaires overnight. So it does come as a shock for many people, while of course the cricketers' wives and girlfriends behave like Zarinas who want to be wooed and dined. The IPL has truly created a darker narrative of greed, systematic injustice, and a culture that has turned a gentleman's game into a high-stake marketplace. The stark contrast between the opulence of top-tier cricketers and the economic struggle of the general population creates a visual and moral disconnect that many find it difficult to reconcile. The sentiment is often fueled by the public display of massive assets and the shadow cast by ongoing financial investigations. So welcome, Meena. Always nice to see you. BlackRock has recently purchased Virat Kohli's team. Corporate industry allowed inside IPL. Absolutely. Well said. Now, if you look at what is happening, the IPL hasn't actually changed cricket. The IPL has, as I would say, a very dark side of greed, systematic injustice, and a culture that has turned, as I said, a gentleman's game into a high-stakes marketplace. The stark contrast between the opulence of these people and the economic struggle of the general public creates a visual and moral disconnect that many find difficult to reconcile. So it is definitely affecting the social fabric of India. This sentiment is often fueled by a public display of massive assets and the shadow cast by ongoing financial investigation. The IPL hasn't just changed cricket, it has rewired the psyche of the Indian youth. We see youngsters who have never tasted luxury suddenly thrust into a world of private jets and five-star suites. Men and women coming from rural areas who have yet to learn about etiquette. As a common man who rushes from pillar to post to get a job watches this Maharaja making machine create a desperate yearning in these youngsters who try to become like them. For every one success story, there are 10,000 broken hearts in small towns who abandon their education and stable careers to chase a fleeting auction bid. So, what are we seeing here? The wealth isn't just a number in a bank account, it's a level of opulence at once reserved for royalty. This is the dream of being sold to every youngster with a bat. I remember, once I went to a friend's house and there were young boys there. So very curiously, I asked them what are they studying for. Thinking that as in most families, they'll say IAS or medicine or engineering or business accounts or you know. So the grandmother very proudly said, no, he is going to go into cricket because that's where the money is. And looking at the boy's face, I was just wondering whether she was serious. Yes, very serious. And suppose they do not win in the auction, then they have to go back to their studies and do something else. So let me just take a few points coming from our viewers. Leena says, these cricketers, actors, Bollywood singers, none of them do anything for Aam Aadmi, nor do they adopt any village to improve lives of those really poor. Money minting industry, IPL, has become, BCCI has tons of money, they don't help other sports in India. Absolutely. Whatever you say is absolutely true. Now, let me just tell you about the wealth, the kind of wealth that we're talking about. The blatant, sort of spending is exemplified by properties like Virat Kohli's 80 crore Gurugram bungalow and MS Dhoni's 7-acre Kailashpati farmhouse, symbols of extreme luxury which serve as a constant reminder of the widening wealth gap. Now, let's just take Virat Kohli, for instance. Okay. Now, he's the one who's been, doing rather strange things like, asking his team when he was a captain to bend the leg for the black cause, which was happening in America. So it was surprising why this man is actually not fighting for, people in India, the causes that are important in India. He's fighting for something that's happening in America. So, he's always come across as someone who's very, very friendly with Pakistan. And many people often term him as Mullah Kohli because of his, affinity with Pakistan. And here also, Leena says, BCCI has tons of money that don't help sports in India. BCCI doesn't pay taxes. Why not? Yes, important question. Apparently, Virat has a soft corner for Pakistan. Absolutely. Very well said. So now if you take, let's go to Virat Kohli's Mumbai apartment, okay, which is located in Worli's Omkar 1973 and offers stunning views of the Arabian Sea, and it's spread across 7,000 square feet. This opulent apartment boasts 4 bedrooms, a private gym, a terrace garden, and other modern amenities. Apart from this apartment that he has, Kohli also owns a swanky bungalow in Gurugram, estimated to be worth 80 crores. This property is located in DLF Phase 1 and is a perfect escape from the hustle bustle of the city. The palatial bungalow in Gurugram is one of the most lavish houses of an Indian cricketer and has a lot of woodwork, especially around the staircases. The marble flooring and white walls add a layer of elegance and focus on minimalism. 100 crores. So this Maharaja Kohli is, is worth, in many crores. And these are just 2 houses we're talking about. He has it in UK. He's got houses everywhere. So this is just, a small, tip of the iceberg. So very interesting to note this about Virat Kohli. Now let's just look at, another house. Yes, that is, let's talk about, So this MS Dhoni's Ranchi farmhouse has been residing in his palatial farmhouse from 2017. Now spread across an area of 7 acres, this farmhouse is called Kailashpati. Everything is about Lord Shiva. Nobody learns about Lord Shiva's, being humane, being kind to poor people, donated to, poor people. Here they pile up money through various means and they give it the name Kailashpati. One of the most lavish houses of Indian cricketers is Dhoni's house. And this farmhouse has a swimming pool, a gymnasium, a park, and a different indoor sports. Captain Cool is an avid collector of bikes and cars, and his mansion also has a showroom to house these beautiful beasts. So we're talking about automobiles. Moving on to the person who was a captain till recently, we're talking about Rohit Sharma. So let's move on to, Rohit Sharma. So Rohit Sharma lives in one of the prime localities in Mumbai, residing in Worli, and he has a 6,000 square feet apartment in Ahuja Towers, worth approximately rupees 30 crores. Located on the 29th floor, the apartment offers views of the Mumbai skyline as well as the Arabian Sea. Contemporary and modern, the interiors boast luxury and comfort. He purchased this apartment in 2015 and he lives with his wife Ritika and their daughter Samaira. Now, they've all got very, very fashionable names. So we will think it's Samira, but no, it's Samaira. Now, like most celebrities, the house has a walk-in closet, a study room that can be converted into a library, a massive kitchen, a sprawling master bedroom, and 3 standard-sized bedrooms. Now, here you must also recall when we were doing, the SSR story, you please remember that his wife is, the sister of, the cornerstone guy connected with Salman Khan. So that's why, that also explains why he gets so many ads. So let's take another comment from Leena. Oh my gosh, Virat is earning over 1.4 million per sponsorship, husband and wife earning like crazy. Absolutely. And then we talk next about Sachin Tendulkar. Now, Sachin Tendulkar has a Bandra mansion. Now, let us not think that this little midget of a cricketer, is no less. He's also very, very wealthy. Now, he has a, mansion in Bandra, an opulent multi-story villa in Mumbai that blends tradition and modern aesthetics. The home includes a dedicated floor for his many trophies and awards. And also bear in mind that now his daughter has also opened a gym which has the latest equipment that any young man or woman would need. Now moving on to Hardik Pandya. So he is the man who's always been there in the news. He's whenever we check, we understand that he's either married or divorced or he has a girlfriend. Now this is the latest girlfriend, and he's a person who has shown his uncouth nature, not only in the stadium, but also the fact that something about him is so very vulgar. Leena says, Tendulkar is extremely tight-fisted. I met him in Dubai. So, yeah, that's an interesting point. Now, moving on to Hardik Pandya's penthouse. It is located in Vadodara. This massive 6,000 square foot penthouse connects 4 separate apartments into one lavish living space, featuring a private theatre and a gym. So this man has always been in the news for various things. Of course, some of the events we can't even speak about because he has been involved in those with Rajiv Shukla. Now moving on to the next person, we're talking about Yuvraj. Well, I'm just trying to get his image. He may be somewhere here. Okay, so we seem to have skipped that. Okay. Now, with regards to Yuvraj Singh, who is also known as UV, he lives on the 29th floor of Omkar 1973, the same building where Virat Kohli and Anushka live, sprawled across 16,000 square feet. The apartment is elegant, they say, yet minimalistic. This is the wording for all the luxury houses. With light tones of brown, white, and cream, Singh's house is worth almost 64 crores, a very lavish house of an Indian cricketer. Now, the Lux apartment offers views of the Arabian Sea, and the walls are adorned with artistic and quaint paintings. The apartment has a trophy cabinet too, showcasing all of his medals and awards. In addition to this, he also owns a spectacular bungalow in Goa that is stunningly designed in beautiful shades of blue and white to reflect the Greek city of Santorini. Now, you must also know that he has a restaurant of his own, which also I'll speak about later. And though these people are not, they don't have, culinary expertise, all of many of these, not only these cricketers but also the Bollywood actors, open restaurants. So we do not know whether this is also a front for various other purposes. Now, speaking of Ravindra Jadeja, now his mansion is among the most lavish houses of Indian cricketers. He's a person from Jamnagar, and he has a luxurious and cushy mansion in the heart of the city with royal and princely fields. It's four-storied and has a stunning chandelier and intricate doors. Also vintage and opulent, the house is adorned with his monograms, as in RG, in red tones, and boasts a swimming pool as well as three horses. Now, if you didn't look at the name, you would think it is some millionaire from America or someone who's got horses and who's doing polo riding and who's going to the golf course. It's our own young cricketers who are the modern Maharajas, the modern millionaires. And most of these cricketers have multiple houses, a testimony to their skyrocketing net worth and success. If we currently rank the best houses in India, the most lavish houses of Indian cricketers is sure to make it in the list. And also, see, it's just like, when you say in the olden times, you say like a sailor has a wife in every port. Very similar to the cricketers. Wherever they go, Virat Kohli has a house in UK also. So wherever they go, they have a house. Now, for the common man, you're talking about the middle class man. It takes him a whole lifetime for him to take loans and to build a house of his own. Okay, then you pay tax and all sorts of things, maintenance tax, everything. Okay, so half your life goes in saving for the house, and only a quarter of that is the time spent in the actual house. So that's how the upper middle class live. Now, see, this kind of rich, quick environment fosters a desperate yearning for such lifestyles, potentially leading to a distortion of values. Now, I'm talking about the youngsters, where a short-lived tournament is valued over years of education or honest work. So, when the youngsters will feel that, see, we can get money so easily, why, do a master's degree or doctor's degree? We can earn money very easily in this way. Now, the perception of this wealth is further soured by allegations of money laundering and the use of mule accounts. The Enforcement Directorate has recently, you also know that he has attached millions in assets from players like Yuvraj Singh, 2.5 crores, Suresh Raina and Shikhar Dhawan in connection with illegal betting probes. So, there have been a lot of other stories about this as well. Now, MS Dhoni's, so moving on to the next piece of information. See, one second. Yeah. So now we are talking about also the shadows of corruption. Now, for many, the absolute truth of these lifestyles feels tainted when the industry is accused of paying players in cash. Now, why would the IPL players be paid in cash, according to many? Why not in checks? So, is that also to save on income tax? So these are some questions that many people ask, whether it's a front for questionable, financial practices. Plus, if you're looking at the moral side of their lifestyle, during the ceremony at Wankhede Stadium, on February 9, 2026, Devisha Shetty, the wife of Indian captain Surya Kumar Yadav, recorded her husband's reaction as he watched Nora Fatehi dance performance from the dressing room. So the recording, during the recording, Devisha zoomed her camera in on Nora Fatehi. So let's just get her image out. Yeah. So Devisha zoomed her camera in on Nora Fatehi's moves before panning to catch Surya Kumar's reaction. And the reaction was caught in 4K. A sheepish Surya Kumar realized he was being filmed and gave a cheeky smile and a thumbs up to the camera. Now, teammates Ishan Kishan and Arshdeep Singh were seen in absolute splits, laughing uncontrollably at their captain being busted by his wife. It showed the vulgarity of the industry. Specifically because everybody knows Nora Fatehi's songs or song and dance are not always, supposed to be the decent ones. So the first question one would ask is that when cricket is a family game and there are so many children in the audience, why did the IPL people invite Nora Fatehi? This is a question we have asked. And recently, because of her song Sarke Chunar Teri Sarke from the film KD, The Devil was recently removed from YouTube following a complaint to the CBFC alleging that it contained highly vulgar and sexual connotations. Now, so when this happened, one would question that why it could have see it's something when a wife is actually videographing her husband, isn't it strange? I mean, this is something that you would actually criticize your husband for doing something like this, which is very cheap, isn't it? But here they have taken it as a joke and they're covering up these aspects. So let's just take one of few comments. Virat also has a restaurant in Juhu. Absolutely. So Bollywood people and cricketers have restaurants. I think it's a sort of a partnership where they give their name and it is actually held by others. And again, it could be a various front for various other things as well. Then look at this young cricketer, Suryavanshi. Soon he'll be swimming in money. Absolutely. These cricketer actors have so much money. That is why restaurants, houses are built by these people. But I'm really not sure whether, it's as straightforward as you say, Leena, because behind this, there is obviously something else happening, is what is my strong doubt. You remember, when you talk about, the Virat Kohli and Anushka being very, very, sort of beautiful people who are always, being talked about by everybody, and also the fact that they live a very lavish style. What we realize is that they don't care two hoots for people, their fans. Because you remember, nearly a year ago, on June 4th, 2025, during a Royal Challengers Bangalore IPL victory, RCB victory, at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, what happened? There was a stampede which resulted in 11 deaths and injured over 75 fans when an estimated 2.5 to 3 lakh people converged on the stadium following social media invitations from the franchise. Now, a police complaint was filed against Virat Kohli by social activists in connection with the incident, and several RCB officials were arrested for irresponsibility and carelessness in crowd management. And the strange thing is, when people were mourning the death of these youngsters, the people who had come and who were their fans, we actually saw Kohli and Anushka walking through the airport on the same day with smiles on their faces, not a word of contributing anything to the families of the ones who died. So it showed their callous manner, how they make money and not spend it on any worthy cause. Now, Kohli released an emotional statement 3 months after the event, stating that nothing in life really prepares you for the heartbreak, and the loss is now part of our story. Now, whose loss is this is the question that most people would ask, Virat Kohli. He did express his sorrow shortly after the event. His recent public behavior has drawn fresh criticism from netizens who perceive it as a sign of the Maharaja disconnect that we have been discussing. So you understand that, they don't even care for the fans. These people die for Virat Kohli and, are always talking about him and his wife, but they don't care two hoots about them, So let me just take a few more comments. Jazz says that, welcome Jazz, always nice to see you. And Leela says, Shah Rukh Khan is over 1,000 crores lavish homes in London, New York, in Dubai. Now his son has wine business. Yes, absolutely. Everything revolves around money. And Jazz says, well said, Meena ji, they are plastic, selfish, ruthless, heartless, opportunistic people. All fake. we need to boycott them totally. Also, please understand that when you're watching these matches, behind that, many things happen. You're talking about whether these matches are fixed, whether there's gambling going on, whether and why these people are being allegedly paid cash and not checks. So all these things come into the question. Now, the presence of the top cricketers is another point that's very important. At lavish corporate events and weddings has become a defining, sort of characteristic of India's Gilded Age, frequently leading to a disconnect between the athletes and the public that they represent. The Gilded Age of cricket and corporate power. You're talking about, the merging of corporate wealth, while cricketing fame is often showcased at mega events that emphasize extreme opulence. Now, you take the Ambani wedding, for instance, in 2024. This 600 million to 1 billion event saw a massive convergence of global business leaders, Bollywood actors, and top cricketers, creating a royal wedding atmosphere. Now, and many times you will find Neeta Ambani, hugging all these cricketers as if they are part of the family. Now, star-studded receptions. You look at the events like Kuldeep Yadav's wedding reception in March 2026. Continue, and this is the trend that is being continued, serving as highly publicized gatherings where the cricketing fraternity celebrates its elite status. So they, now they belong to another creed. Now, research also suggests that corporate involvement in sports has shifted the focus from long-term player development to short-term commercial gains, which can impact an athlete's autonomy and ethical decision-making. So, if you look at half the advertisements, if there's about, in 100% ads, you'll find that 80% of the ads belong to these cricketers. Sometimes you get so fed up of seeing Virat Kohli's, face. It's so irritating to see that. And yet, they are selected for most of the ads. And some of the ads are so, sort of sickening. And so let's just take yes. Shah Rukh Khan used to dance at weddings for money. Yeah, all of them. Malaika Arora, all these people. They wear little skirts and dance. See how Adani got married. It's such a low-key wedding is what Leena says. Now, see, another point is that being constantly wooed and dined by these business elite, like all these top homes, corporate homes, can lead to a significant shift in how players perceive themselves and their responsibilities. While icons like Sachin and Yuvraj Singh are praised for their discipline, their roles as brand ambassadors for luxury and consumer products can inadvertently promote materialism among youth. Now, corporate strategies and the pursuit of financial gain have, in some instances, overshadowed the traditional sporting spirit of the game, raising concerns about athletic integrity and fairness. Now, the blatant spending and elite social success of these stars often appear jarring to a general population struggling with economic instability, fueling the perception of vulgar divide between the have and the have-nots. For example, when people are worried about the price of gas rising or other sort of commodities, here they're only bothered about where is the next party or where are they getting their next cash from. So it's a very sad state of affair. Amitabh used to do A to Z all ads once upon a time. Yes. Now the latest Sachin Tendulkar ad is really pathetic, about Spinnies, which is a brand that, buys second-hand cars and gives you money instantly. So in essence, we're talking about the distortion of values. So if you look at, the behind the scenes, it reinforces our points. Like when the game is surrounded by private suites, luxury bungalows, holidays in Maldives and other, such resorts, and questionable business fronts, even the players' reaction to item numbers, which we just said, Nora Fadehi, become part of a manufactured, celebrity-driven spectacle that feels increasingly disconnected from the struggles of everyday people. So here I'd also like to draw a comparison with what Netflix does. Now, Netflix is a company that actually started keeping in mind the fact that they want to change your perception of movies. They want you to see what they want to show you. Okay, so what they have tried to show us are a lot of trash movies, which sort of questions the very social fabric that India has, and taking topics that are taboo and showing it to young children. So this is something very similar. Even the cricketing fraternity, the modern Maharajas, are changing the way young men and women are looking at lifestyles. So if you look at where there is new money on the scale, while players can earn handsomely from brand endorsement and high net worths, which are reflected in their opulent homes, the industry faces persistent scrutiny. Critics have frequently raised eyebrows at the sheer volume of black money swirling around the league. While official payments are tracked, allegations of money laundering and players being paid in cash rather than checks continue to haunt the league's reputation. Now, the establishment KOCA, which is Kitchen of Celebratory Arts, okay, is Yuvraj Singh's restaurant, which is the massive 14,000 square feet fine dining destination in Gurugram. It is a part of Glamosphere Hospitality founded by Shobit Agarwal and Kapil Goel. Now, Yuvraj is not just a celebrity face, but is officially designated as a partner in the restaurant. Beyond restaurants, Yuvraj has a long history of legitimate investments through his venture capital fund, UVCAN Ventures, including stakes in tech-based food. While many business ventures are structured legally, several high-profile cricketers have recently faced severe action from the Enforcement Directorate regarding money laundering allegations. The one into betting case, late 2025, early 2026, the ED attached assets belonging to several celebrities, including cricketers, in connection with the laundering case linked to the illegal betting platform One into Bet. Yuvraj Singh's assets worth 2.5 crores was attached by the ED in December 2025. Suresh Raina and Shikhar Dhawan's assets worth 11.14 crores combined were attached in November 2025. The ED claims that these individuals knowingly entered into endorsement deals with foreign entities to promote illegal betting. Now, these payments were allegedly routed through layered foreign transactions to disguise them as legitimate proceeds of crime from illegal gambling. Now, see, there is no absolute, there is no official legal confirmation or public evidence stating that the specific restaurants owned by cricketers like KOCA, which is Yuvraj, are currently being used as fronts for money laundering. However, the industry as a whole is under intense scrutiny because of surrogate endorsements. The ED has found that celebrities often accept payments for surrogate brands, which are certainly fronts for illegal offshore betting sites. And the money from these endorsements often moves through multiple foreign intermediaries and mule accounts to appear like legitimate business income in India. While the restaurants themselves may be, legitimate service providing businesses, the capital used to fund them or the marketing income that sustains the owner's lifestyle is what federal agencies are currently investigating as potential proceeds of crime. Now, a lot of these cricketers are under the lens for promoting illegal betting act. Now, the IPL industry as a whole is under a cloud. The investigation into about 6,000 mule accounts and 1,000 crore is laundered funds shows that the Maharaja lifestyle often has a hidden, darker financial engine. Also, there is, we cannot say unless it is all, because as you know, in today's court, you need to show everything as evidence. So we cannot really know how much of evidence they can show in these cases. So you come back to, is the IPL a miracle of social mobility or a front for a glitzy redistribution of questionable wealth? We celebrate the village boy who makes it big, but we must ask, At what point did the sport stop being about wicket and start being about the wallet? When we prioritize a Maharaja lifestyle over the dignity of honest work, we aren't just changing the scoreboard, we're changing the soul of a nation. So then my question is the IPL a dream come true or a nightmare dressed in tuxedo? Is the glitter worth the grease? Let me know in the comments if you think that money has finally ruined the game. This is very important, friends. You must give it a thought. The ultimate irony is that while these players are celebrated as men of the people on the field, their off field lives are increasingly defined by a divisive corporate culture. This environment reinforces the Maharaja narrative, where the focus on shortcuts to extreme wealth can overshadow the values of humility and hard work. And also, the next question is that why then are the other games not being treated in the same manner? And why do we not find Maharajas in games like hockey, badminton, tennis? It's only in cricket. Or is it easy to make money in this manner, in this field, is something that people constantly ask. Meena says, so much competition in sports, that is why everybody is chasing IPL. It is for money. One season IPL is a common man's lifetime earning. And Whiplash Shetty's Juhu's 100 crore property attached by ED for some corruption case. Shilpa Shetty's 100 crore property Juhu has been attached by ED for some corruption case. So you'll find, you're very true, Leena, because most of these people, even these, item girls, they all have, restaurants, regardless of the fact whether they have enough money to buy restaurants, that too in Mumbai, which is the most expensive city. So coming back to this point is that, is IPL a dream come true or a nightmare dressed in tuxedo? Is the glitter worth the grease? Because all of you take your families, you spend so much of money on popcorn and everything just to see a fair game. Is it a fair game? Is also a question. Is it a fixed match? We do not know. Is there betting going on behind it? We don't know. So please write in your comments what you think could be the truth behind this so-called facade. With this, we end this show. We'll see you tomorrow with a lot more news. Good night. Jai Hind and Jai Shri Ram.